Hey everyone, it's James from the Fit RV, and I've got with me Chris Bienert from Winnebago.
Hey-o.
And this new thing, this is the Boldt, the Winnebago Boldt. New model, just been released.
New model, just been, well, by the time you see this video, it's just been released. We're back in December, early cold frigid December here. And what's actually behind us is a working prototype.
Okay, so working, you mean people are using it?
We're using it hard.
Okay, and it's December.
It's
not
December.
Camping season.
No. Well,
okay.
Or is it?
All right. So new Class B, built on a Sprinter.
Not just any Sprinter. This is the new 2019 Sprinter.
Everybody's been crazy to get a look at this. So
and here's
look at a Boldt.
Yep. This is our first chassis we got in.
Okay.
And we're driving it. We've built it out, like I said, with our new floor plan for a Sprinter chassis, and it's got a lot of neat new technology and everything we've been learning from, building Travados and Revels and Paseos and Eras. It's like we took our lessons,
put them in this one.
Put them in this one.
All right. So go ahead.
Yeah, it's the Boldt. Really, this is the van for real van users, real van lifers. Just optimized for the way people are really using their vans.
Okay, so since I've got Chris here and there's no one else here because they've all gone home, we're going to take this opportunity to learn, not just like an RV review where I open the cabinets and stuff. We're going to go a little more in depth and tell you about some of the things in a Boldt that you might not necessarily pick up on if you just like walked through it on a dealer's lot.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's get to it. Okay, so a lot of what you've done with the Boldt has been centered around making this. You're actually advertising this as a 4-season capable rig, right?
That was the design intent from the very beginning.
But that's not just one thing. There's a whole lot that goes into it, right?
Yes.
So let's run through some of the points that we've got. What makes it a 4-season rig?
Okay, so 4-season rig. First off, we're talking about insulation.
Okay.
We're talking about water systems, heating systems.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Well, let me stop you. What are you using to define? Like, what's your criteria? Like, what is defining the 4-season rig? Like operational down to, or?
Yeah, well, we're not giving a precise temperature because there's so many variations with humidity, wind, and any variation from coach to coach. But we are definitely, working into freezing conditions.
Okay. So this rig will work below freezing.
Is the design, yes.
Okay, so you mentioned insulation, heating, water systems.
Right, so I know you've gone through and written a whole intense blog on winterizing a Travado and what you needed to do. So, but what we've done with this is, we've been learning over the years of producing vans, and turns out you're not just one weirdo. Apparently there's a lot of people like this that want to use their vans
in the cold.
And whether it's camping or, just this peace of mind. So step one, let's talk about insulation.
Okay, and there's actually a spot in the back of the van where we can see some of the insulation.
Right.
Like there's a panel removed.
Right. We got one panel in one of the rear doors. So what we're doing is all of the voids of the van are being filled with an automotive grade insulation.
Okay, and by voids you mean like the spaces in the pillars and whatever, right?
Right. Everything that comes from Mercedes. As we fill those voids, and all of those pieces are CNC cut. So it's not like just kind of random. Did they get enough in there or not? Those are actually engineered, dimensioned parts. Fitting into the van. Like
you're cutting foam with a water jet or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It's a CNC fabric cutter, but yeah.
Okay.
It's controlled like a water jet.
Okay.
Then your next level of insulation, is in the walls of the van here. You look at them, they're just nice, pretty walls, but each one is at 3/4 of an inch thick before we put the interior skin on it.
Okay.
And that is, if it's not framing, it's again filled with that insulation. So a complete break thermal break from the body of the van all through the coach, from the B-pillar all the way back to the rear doors.
Okay, so everything from here back is super insulated.
Right. Same thing with the ceiling. We're filling in those voids and providing the insulation there.
Big one for us, like something I never could tackle in the Travato, is the floor, right?
And we did the floor as well.
Okay.
Okay, so this is some tech kind of came out of the Revel. We had that thicker floor that had the upper plywood layer, and then that layer of foam insulation. Same design is here in the Boldt.
Okay, so insulation, we got lots of insulation going on here.
And windows too.
The windows, that's right.
Okay,
so in here we've got the double pane.
Right, so you've got one tiny little double pane in your coach. We've got their available dual pane windows. Again, it's from the B-pillar all the way back to the rear doors.
Okay.
So we've done some testing. All right. A typical RV glass window, it has an R value of about 0.9, but these windows tested out at 2.5.
Cool. And did you? That's like almost 3 times as
right. Yeah.
And do you have any guesses as to the R value of the walls, or do you know the material you're using? It's an automotive foam.
Right.
And is that like, do you know like per inch how much that is, or putting you on the spot?
You put me on the spot. I don't have the number on the top of my head.
Okay.
Maybe we'll flash that in here later.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's on par with most types of insulation. Whether you're looking at a with Thinsulate
the pink foam you can get at Home Depot.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So that's insulation.
So now let's take that next step to water. Okay. So struggles you ran into, you had like water lines close to the body of the coach and everything, and getting the water lines up inside of the coach. Okay. That's the design from the beginning. When I said we had this complete thermal break from the B-pillar back to the rear doors, that means that all of those water lines are now inside of that thermal break.
Inside that space.
Right.
Okay. So not close, and I think certainly then if I went to look outside, I wouldn't find any water lines running outside, right?
Right.
Okay. But so that's fresh water. What about wastewater?
Okay, so the wastewater, 2 things going on there. One, from a customer's perspective, there's things you can do, using
use a bunch of antifreeze in your waste tank.
Whatnot. But we also have tank heaters for our fresh and wastewater.
Okay, so the fresh tank is outside on these.
Right. The fresh tank is outside in an insulated compartment. Again, think Revel.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's like a double wall thing with insulation between the walls and a heating pad up under there, right up on the tank.
You described it perfectly.
Okay. Well, that's how I would do it. So,
so we're heating the fresh water and the drainage both, and power-wise, because now that's taken some energy to keep that heated. This is a Pure 3 coach.
So you got plenty of power to run heating pads all night long.
Right.
I wouldn't be worried in our coach, and this one has more capacity than our current coach.
Yeah, and compared to our like our Travato, the GL and KL, we're 1/3 again more battery capacity in Boldt than we were there.
Speaking of the battery, in this one, the battery is actually inside the heated space of the vehicle, right?
Exactly.
So that eliminates.
It's underneath the bed here, so it's above that insulated floor, inside of that insulated thermal break from the outside of the van.
So if it's warm enough in here for you, it's a comfortable temperature for the battery.
If you're comfortable, the battery's comfortable.
Okay. And so, what about heating? Like to keep you comfortable? Speaking of.
Right. So we use a Truma Combi.
Okay, that's very efficient.
Right, and the Combi Eco Plus. So, like I said, it is very efficient. LP usage, and we've taken this thing out and tested it. The thing, it really just sips LP. With the help of between the efficiency and the insulation and the size of the tank. It's a larger tank than in the Travato. We'll in some specs here when we have everything finalized, but it's got enough LP to really take you through the cold nights.
Well, I saw the tank on this thing. Is that tank on this one the same size as what's going to be in production? Because
Yes.
it's like 3 times the size of our Travado.
Yep.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah.
Okay.
So and then the Combi, of course, it's like in your Travado, it's the Eco Plus, so it's got the electric heating elements. So again, you can reduce your LP usage. Driving in the winter or whatever, you can flip
Mix
that thing
2,
over.
Mix 1.
Or EL1, EL2.
Okay.
So you can be heating your water in the interior coach electrically, within reason. But
Right.
yeah.
Okay, so making it 4-season. We've talked about the tanks. We've talked about the insulation. We've talked about the heating systems. We've talked about the battery.
Well, we didn't talk about the bathroom.
All right.
Well, I mean, let's be realistic. Your RV, your winter camping in a van. Let's talk about taking that shower and such in the bathroom. So, like in this KL layout, that bathroom's all the way in the rear of the coach. So, what we've done is we use a screen door. It's some blogger somewhere called the best door in the world. I don't know.
That would be us.
I'm trying to remember who that was.
That would be us.
But it's the same material. And in this case, for that bathroom, it's also the blackout. And when you set that up, it keeps an air gap there between the shower and the bathroom and that rear door.
A little bit of curve on that back door, right?
Right. And so that that air gap, that's insulation right there. So, and then we've got a vent right into the bathroom there. So it's actually a toasty warm area in the coach.
Interesting. And let's see. So, but the only thing, just thinking off the top of my head, the only thing I can identify as a weak area, if there is one in the 4-season thing, would be you're going to have to, at some point, you're going to have to dump the tanks. You'll have liquid in the tanks.
Right.
At some point, you're going to need to dump, and the gate valve is a gate valve, right? There's You'd have to make sure you could still operate the valve to dump and find a dump station that wasn't frozen over and whatever.
Right, but that comes down to the electric heating pads and keeping everything liquid.
Yeah. All right, cool. Winterization. There's more to talk about, so let's pick another topic.
Okay.
So one of the things I want to talk about is people love to mod their vans, to make it their own, to make it work the way they want it to.
Really?
Imagine that. And I'm noticing in here a number of things that you've done to make it easy to do just that, and there's so many that it can't be just kind of a coincidence.
No.
You must have planned this out.
No, not a coincidence.
So what are some of the things you've done to make this moddable or to make it work the way an owner would want?
Yeah. Oh, well, start with, first thing you see when you walk into someone's coach and mods they've made, there's things hanging up, on the walls they've added, the
shelves over the door,
right,
whatever.
command hooks, whatever. What we did, we decided, okay, we're going to make this easy, okay, because everyone's going to have the coach a little bit differently. So, first thing we've done is we've taken advantage of the Ram track systems.
Right.
Okay, so you can see above every window, like
even this tiny one.
even this tiny one, but all of the windows going around the coach here.
Yeah.
You've got a Ram track integrated into the window surround.
It's like molded into that frame.
Yeah. Yeah. So like this little box right here, starts life as a spice rack.
Right.
Okay. And you probably know when we design a coach, we take them out and we use them.
Right.
And we did that with this one. The first thing, that was actually my wife laid down there and she says, okay, where do I put my water bottle?
So you moved it.
So I'm panicked, and then it's like, wait a minute, move the spice rack and move over here. So now that we ended up adding an extra
nice
box there.
And now in another coach that you might you might get a spice rack, it'd be screwed to the wall or something like that, right? And not so easily transformable into something else.
Exactly. So yeah, so this one, if you want the spice rack closer to your range, so you've got room for that other thing you attached there, just do it.
Cool. And like over the windows here, we've got iPad mounts, right? I mean, I know you can mount phones. We've got one of these actually that I installed in our own rig. They're very, very versatile, and it makes it easy to move an iPad wherever you need to. And you could, I'm doing it right now. You can turn it around.
Yeah. Movie night from over here. We've got the tracks, right here on the face of the galley. Okay. So
I'm with you. I'm
all
with
right.
you.
So, and you remember that table that you were leaning on?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our assist handle is also a ram track.
Nice. And so
So
that table,
on that handle, you can use it from the passenger seat, just like a normal, but some people, when they're working from the road, like to stand up while they're working.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, fit RV, you should.
I have a sit-to-stand desk. I know what
yeah,
you're talking about.
All right. And so from there, you can raise that to the, you know, towards the top of the handle, be looking out the door at mountain, beach, whatever.
Right.
You know, while you're working away.
Theoretically,
real
you could even work it from outside the door.
Yeah,
You could stand outside and work.
you could. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. You know, and again, you can attach things to protrude out the door, whether it's, you know, Bluetooth speakers or, yeah, your iPad if you want that out there, you know, whatever you want.
Yeah, and any of these accessories, actually, I mean, if you just wanted to move something somewhere else, you could just mount your own ram track anywhere. I mean, it all moves. It's very modular.
Yeah.
But that table then, since we've got another ram track here that's vertical,
Right.
could come back here and work here.
Right. And it's big enough for two people to eat at. So we could be dining at that table here. You notice there's no, you know, we don't have a pedestal anywhere in the floor getting in the way.
Things.
Yeah. And how do you clean around them?
Yeah.
So you don't, but when the table's here, you can swing it out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Then you've
know,
got your
over the
aisle
bed
back.
to open the aisle. You can swing it to where you use it as almost like a galley extension, or you can swing it in front of the microwave and it rotates. So you can rotate it down out of the way so it's out of the aisle. Same thing back when it's on the handle, you can rotate it down
Against the door?
against the back of the passenger seat.
Okay.
So it gets out of the way. And then when you swivel the seat, flip it up. You can flip up, of course, we've got our other workspace.
That looks very
Table.
Revel-esque.
It is very Revel-esque.
Okay.
But
Is that a word?
It is now.
Okay.
But then behind that little flip-up table, we added some outlets. So you've got your 110, your USBs,
Okay.
and a 12-volt.
No, well, if you can't run it off that.
You're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you've done?
Well, speaking of, okay, so how often have you heard, you know, what did you want to install in your coach? I mean, you put in, you know, your
We have cell booster, Wi-Fi booster, whatever.
And what do you have to do with those?
You got to cut a hole in the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How well do people like really?
Nobody likes that.
Okay, so what we did up here, we've got a special compartment in this overhead.
A
And
little porthole.
just this little unassuming little porthole here takes you up to a little plastic box on the roof.
It's weather sealed.
Weather sealed, so you can run up through and run your wires out onto the roof for whatever
you
antenna or whatever new antenna is dreamt up 2 years from now.
Nice.
You've
You're
got
kind of
a-
future-proofing.
Right. And then in this space here, we've got the, you know, this is of course your connections for, you know, your TV antenna and HDMI to the TV, but you got 110, 12-volt USB.
Well, if you
So-
can't run it off that,
That's as future-proofed as we can get.
yeah. So I really like it's a much better approach than trying to build in a Wi-Fi booster, you know,
Right.
from the get-go, because a year from now that's going to be like, you know, old as dirt.
Yeah, if we design in a 4G booster by the time
Next year it'd be 5G.
5G
it'd
and
be-
then 6G. And,
yeah, it'd be worthless. So no, I like that. And then you can just swap it out. I mean, if your equipment becomes obsolete, just pull it and then run a new wire.
Yep. And if you need to replace the box on the roof, you know, that's certainly doable.
Are there a certain number of ports on that roof box? or-
It's just a blank box because we don't know what someone's going to be coming through, you know, with their wire.
Okay, cool.
So
Okay, Chris, so we've talked about a lot of stuff in the Boldt, but is there anything else that you really want people to, now's your chance, right? What would you want to tell people about the van that they might not know?
yeah, okay. So a lot of things, you know, when you're building a van, there's a lot of stuff under the skin that you can't necessarily see, but you might be able to hear or not hear.
Okay.
So starting with the cabinets, you know, traditionally RVs are built with a lot of sticks and staples,
yeah.
glue.
We're all familiar with that. Nobody seems to like it.
Well, and that we don't have that in Boldt.
Ooh.
The cabinetry, although you look at these cabinets and may say
They look very similar to like a Travato cabinet.
Right, except they're completely different.
Okay.
And the whole way they're designed and constructed, they're made of CNC cut paneling. So not paneling, we're talking about some thick plywood.
Okay.
So, but it's all machine cut, CNC controlled. So that makes the cabinetry, the length, the fit very precise.
Well, no, and you can cut, if you're cutting it out a piece of plywood, it's one sheet, and then you're just removing parts of it, right?
Right.
To get openings, instead of taking individual members and putting them together to make an opening.
Right. So you end up
no
with
joints.
No joints. You end up with a more precise cabinet, tighter fit in the van, and a higher quality van.
So frameless cabinetry, more or less.
You could say that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Other things, like I said, is the stuff you can hear or not hear.
Right.
We talked a lot about the insulation, and this is kind of an amazing thing. Like in the factory, when we're building these things and we've got the walls, the insulation lined and everything, and you walk in, you got all the noise of the factory, you walk in, and it's like it goes
We
away.
closed the door on this one a little while ago, and it's very, very quiet. It's eerily quiet in here when you close the door.
Yeah. But that's not going to be a good thing if your air conditioner is really, really loud.
Yeah, then you'd be locked in a quiet box with a loud air conditioner.
Okay, so our air conditioner is actually a new one that we worked with Coleman Mach on.
Okay.
And although it looks like probably the same air conditioner
exactly
that came
the
in your
same.
Travato, this one is 8 decibels quieter.
8 decibels, that's like less than half the sound energy.
Yes.
It's a logarithmic scale.
Yeah, logarithmic scale. So 8 decibels
Is quite a lot.
That makes a huge
Can I turn it on?
difference. Sure.
All right, here we go.
Oh, I turned the inverter off. Yeah, I turned the inverter. Let me turn the inverter.
Turn the inverter on.
Okay.
There we go. All right, here we go.
So that's our low cool.
All right, so now we're still talking.
Yeah.
And I'm not yelling, really.
Neither am I.
Okay. So this is actually quite an improvement over what came with our Travato when we got it.
Right.
And what about the outside sound levels, just for your campground neighbors?
No complaints. It's no louder. If anything, it's quieter on the outside too.
Cool. All right.
Yes, that was a pun, wasn't it?
So it's quiet. The cabinetry. I'm assuming there are other trade secrets that you've got that you built into this thing. Special sauce.
There's some special sauce, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I can tell you what the effect is.
Okay.
When you drive this thing down the road, most RVers are going to be familiar with the rattle and bang of an RV going down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're not familiar with a Boldt.
Okay. Can we take it on a drive?
Maybe.
All right. Well, I guess unless there's anything else you wanted to let people know, that's probably going to wrap it up for this. Are you?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
Like we're good.
So that was a little more in-depth look at the Winnebago Boldt with Chris Bienert, product planner at Winnebago, and the star of the Bienert moment. This has been James
And Chris.
and we'll see you later. Bye.
Are you still here? The film's over. Go away. Hey.